just nearly tripped over the thing and broke my old leg.
Did you knock my camera?
I did. Do you need to go and check?
Nah, you're right. If it's slightly wonky, his fault.
Do you want me to have a look? Because I'm pretty good at that.
Yeah,
stuff.
have a look.
Hang on, I'll just check it.
Tech guy.
Hang on,
Craig.
Yeah, it's pretty. You're super handsome.
Thanks, mate.
Super handsome. Hi, Tom.
Hey, mate. Oh fuck.
What,
I think Where is it?
What?
The squatty potty.
The squatty potty. It's upstairs.
Actually, no. It's been used now, so I don't want to bring it back down here.
Hey, I don't poo on it. I just put my feet on it.
Well, if you missed last week, I gave Craig what is known as a squatty potty.
Is this not just a booster chair for a young child? Squatty potty.
But what happens when you go from a sit to a squat? Voila! This muscle relaxes and that kink goes away faster than Pegasus laying sweet sherbet dookie. Introducing the squatty potty. No, squatty potty is not a joke.
I wanted you to review it this week, so...
I fucking love the squatty potty, and I'm not even being funny. You and I haven't had a conversation because we don't ever like to ruin this moment, right?
Yeah.
I just want to show you something hilarious, which is if you can zoom in on this. Can you see what it says on the sticker? Well, it says 7-inch.
7-inch squatty potty.
No.
So a 7-inch toilet stool.
What? What? Are they kidding? 7-inch toilet stool. Well, I did crank out a few myself.
But not 7-inch. All right, we'll get to that later on.
So you don't want me to tell you now?
No, I want to wait till the end.
I did do some quality testing on it though.
Good. Well, that was your only homework for this episode.
Yeah, and I want to say thanks, folks, for you guys who spread the word and shared our last episode. I think we had over 50 shares, which is nice. We'd like, 100 this week.
The nicest thing about it was that people had to watch to the end to actually hear that we wanted people to share it. So there's been a few people watch to the end.
Yeah, it's been good. So it's slowly growing, and as we said last week, we're trying to build this into a little thing. If you think it adds value to your life and if you enjoy the bullshit that we get up to, then just tell everyone, won't you? Yeah. We're trying to grow a little something here, but we appreciate your support, your comments and your shares and your likes. And carry on!
All right.
Let's go.
So I think each one of these episodes sort of like builds up, and I think it's more that we get warmed up.
Right.
Because before this, we just kind of
Are you trying to change the dynamic today? Or?
No, not at all.
Right.
But I want to start with something. It's a bit fun.
Okay. Well, I'll be the judge of that.
So what this is...
The viewers will be the judge of that.
I want you to Craigify a whole bunch of things that I've written down.
What if I don't know what it is?
Well, I'm just going to throw them at you. You can tell me to get fucked, or you can just...
Do you like how when you say this, I get fucking nervous. I get myself a bit of pen and paper. All right, I'm ready. Don't make me look dumb. Don't make me look dumber.
All right, so Craigify, put them into your own sort of terms, explain them the way you will, because I think you resonate with a lot of people how simply and how straightforward you sort of dish out this information.
I'm a simple man, Tom.
It's either saying that we're all simple because we love the way you're doing it.
I try to resonate. I try to speak the language of the common man / woman.
Okay, ego.
Ego. Ego is not a dirty word. In the words of Skyhooks. If you don't know who Skyhooks are, you're not old enough.
Yeah, definitely not.
You don't know who that is, do you?
Not one.
You're a fucking disgrace. Tommy, okay, your homework is to go and do a YouTube search on Skyhooks, one of the greatest Australian bands ever.
Okay.
My God.
Ego is not a dirty word.
Ego is actually Latin for the word I. Did you know that?
No.
And so, just quickly, so we often think we confuse having an ego with egotism. Egotism is like when you're a big self-promoter, you're an egotist, and everything revolves around you, and you're really interested in other people thinking highly of you and thinking you're awesome. That's egotism. Whereas ego is really, in a psychology sense, ego is just your sense of self, who you are. So we all have an ego, and it's okay, but it gets misused. It's not okay. It's normal. But a big ego, that's clinically, or that's more technically what would be called egotism. And it's, he's got a healthy ego, hasn't he? But everybody's got an ego, and it's really the sense of who I am, my identity, my sense of self. Some people say the ego is like the conscious part of the mind, that you identify who you are. That's your ego.
I heard a guy recently say, I've got an ego, but I balance it out with self-awareness. Now I'm going to lead into the next one, which is self-awareness.
Self-awareness.
So, Craigify self-awareness.
So self-awareness, let me give you an example. Self-awareness is you're having a conversation. This is self and situational awareness. You're having a conversation with somebody, and in the middle of the conversation, they don't tell you, there's no words or verbal communication, but all of a sudden you understand that you're disconnecting, you're not connecting. Or you understand that you've just offended somebody, or maybe bothered somebody, or maybe you're missing the mark. That's self-awareness. Or that's an example of self-awareness. So self-awareness is having a level, and this is pretty difficult, having a level of objectivity and perspective about yourself, right? It's like I always say, put up your hand if you've ever heard your voice on audio tape, and everyone goes like that. And then I say now, and then I go, put up your hand if you hate how you sound. And everyone goes like that. And then I go, well, the bad news is that's how you sound all the time to everyone. Everyone goes, oh, fuck. But it's because we don't know really what we are like, because we've never sat across the table from ourselves and had a conversation. And so self-awareness matters until it creeps into self-loathing. But self-awareness is just so that I can at least have an insight or a level of awareness of how other people perceive me, or how I might fit or not fit into this moment or this conversation or situation. And it's really about me having good self-awareness is about me being able to connect with other people more effectively.
Like it. All right. Failure.
Oh, failure. Failure is a label. Failure is a word that we use and attach individually based on our beliefs, based on our thinking, based on the way that we perceive the world, us in it, the results that we create. It's an individual label that we give things. So one person might say, I ran 5 kilometres and it took me 22 minutes. That was an amazing, and they ran 5 kilometres in 22 minutes, best time they've ever done. They're happy. For them, it's a success because that's what they call it. They label it. And once they label it and believe it, it has an effect. They're happier, their nervous system, all this great stuff, you know. Their brain chemistry changes for the better, a bit of dopamine or whatever. The next person, or person B, does the same thing on the same day. They do the same fun run, for example. They run the same distance in the same time. They're disappointed because they wanted to run under 20 minutes. They've run 22. So they did the same thing. They did the same run. They ran the same time. They covered the same distance. But they tell themselves a different story, and their story is, I failed. So failure is really a subjective thing. It is a label that we give things. So that's why, and it's not trying to be all bullshitty and delusional about this, going, oh, there's only lessons and there's only, but in a way, you know, you go, well, it didn't work out the way that I wanted. That's not awesome, but what is good is I figured out 3 ways not to do it. And there are also 2 things out of it that did go really well. And now I understand that if I do this instead of that, I'll get a better outcome. So it's trying to, you know, acknowledging what happens and being realistic and practical about it, but at the same time saying, all right, what can I learn? What can I change?
Okay, so I think this is a different ballgame for athletes.
Yes.
Or people in competitive sport.
Yes.
Whether that be, you know, Saturday night netball or you know, Tuesday night netball. Sure. If you lose, you've lost. Is that a failure?
Well, yeah, good question. So again, that's an individual thing. If you've done the best that you can do, so all you can do is control yourself, your performance. If you're a footballer, you know, or a netballer, your passes, your intercepts, your whatever. And again, it depends. If your only measure of failure or success is the score line, then yeah, there's going to be a black or white result for you. But that's not always the healthiest approach. And so one of my best friends is one of my good friends anyway, Jackie Lauder, is a sports psych, and she always talks about, you know, it's about doing everything that you can to control your controllables and get the most out of your performance. Focus on that and the result will be the result. Yeah, but the problem is that sometimes we obsess about the result rather than focusing on the process, so we actually affect our skill or our performance or our concentration in the process because we're obsessed about the end.
That's a good one.
Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Last one for you to Craigify.
Yes.
Stress.
Oh, stress. Well, you're getting married very soon. Are you stressed?
I think I'm getting a bit more stressed. It's like less than 2 weeks away.
How does stress manifest for you, Tom?
It's probably just in like the last sort of the thought of what needs to be done to achieve what we are aiming to achieve. So it's like the weight of everything. Yeah. That's probably where I feel the stress. Same with my business and stuff. I get, oh my God, I've got so much. Get to the other side of it though, usually, and I'm like, it's a piece of piss. Yeah. But that's how it manifests for me, when it's sort of all building up on my back.
What about physically? Is there any kind of physical symptom or shift when you are stressed?
Yeah, I can get a headache. Yeah. Physically, tired.
Yeah.
I'd say they're probably the main. Yeah.
So stress is an interesting one because there are lots of kinds of stress. So I'll keep it brief. So when we go to the gym and we lift weights or we run or we put our body under a level of pressure to create adaptation, that's a kind of stress. Yeah. So we stress our body so it responds. And sometimes, and there's a kind of stress called eustress, which I think is spelled EU stress, which is good stress, where there's a level of pressure, a healthy level of pressure to get stuff done. I've got a timetable, I've got a to-do list, but I'm not feeling that weight of stress, you know. Stress in the sense that most people think about it is really a state that they get into where they're uncomfortable. They're at in a level of ill ease, or where they are distracted, or their heart rate's elevated, or their blood pressure, or perhaps their nervous system, sympathetic nervous system, is switched on, and all of those things that we've spoken about. Yes, norepinephrine. I know you want to ask me. All those things where we get ourselves into an elevated or a heightened state of anxiety, but for the most part, that is produced by our thoughts. That is produced by what's going on in our head. Yeah. So, in a nutshell, stress in most cases is an individual response to an external stimulus. So something happens internally, heart rate, blood pressure, overthinking, fear, all those things. That's some kind of internal, either emotional, psychological and or physiological response because something out there has happened. Yeah. We give it a label, we respond to it, right? Mm. But when we change our relationship over time with that thing might be a snake, or that thing might be a speaking engagement, or that thing might be the man across the road that I'm scared of for no reason other than he looks scary. Yeah. Right, but then I met him and he's awesome, so now I'm not scared. Well, he's the same, but what's changed is your thinking about him, or the snake, or the speaking engagement, so your stress response disappears. So stress is something that we unconsciously create via our thinking. There's more to it than that, and we're probably not doing it justice, but when that's why when you go, well, that's a stressful situation, and you go, yeah, but there's a guy in the middle of it who's not stressed. Yeah. Like in the emergency ward, people running everywhere and hemorrhaging and blood and guts, and there's a doctor or a nurse, and he or she is super calm and super chilled and super relaxed. Because you think about it, if you're in emergency surgery, do you want the stressed doctor or the calm doctor? I want the calm nurse. I want the calm doctor.
So are there people who are genetically maybe exposed to experience more stress? How's it work? Because I remember, you call people a stress head because they're like about everything. Yes. They get stressed about everything.
Yeah. Okay, so let's just put a little asterisk next to this conversation and say, so we're not talking about people, we're talking about people here who don't have mental or emotional health issues per se. We're just talking about people who just maybe overthink some things, and some people are more genetically predisposed to be a stress head. Some people just are more wired that way. That doesn't mean that that's a lifelong sentence of anxiety. It just means we've got to work with that. Just like everybody's got a different personality or a different kind of nature, so too some people are more predisposed to get anxious or stressed more easily than others. But it's something that we can work on. It starts with awareness though.
I'm going to give one tip. Yeah. If you know a stress head, don't call them a stress head because it'll stress them out.
Yeah. Well, and the thing is that over time, you start to realise that without self-loathing or without beating yourself up, that I'm doing this. I'm doing this. This overthinking, this analysis paralysis, this what if and all of that comes from fear. all of that is, that all of those emotional variables and consequences are generally rooted in fear. So we figure out, well, what is it that scares me? And confront that if and when we can.
Is there a quick sort of maybe dot point of things that you could go through to evaluate and maybe break down some of that stress? Like, say, if there's something going on in your business or training, you can go, okay, is it true? What does it mean? What's the outcome? Is there something that we could follow?
Well, look, again, big conversation, but sometimes, just bring someone that trust, respect, who's objective, maybe into the picture. And go, okay, so this is what I'm thinking and feeling. Can you just give me the unemotional, objective, outside looking in kind of feedback? Because sometimes you just need someone to go, hey champ, you're overreacting. It's that. It's not that. It's and you go, is it? You go, yes, because oh, cool. So sometimes all you need is somebody, not to tell you what you want to hear, but to give you a perspective that, see, here's the thing. It's very hard for you to be objective about you. It's like we were talking about self-awareness, because you're you. And as soon as there's something that you wrap emotion around, it's very hard to take that emotion off it and just to be logical and strategic. But control your controllables. Do the stuff that scares you first. So if you've got to have a hard conversation, don't think about it for 4 weeks. Go have the hard conversation today.
Yeah. All right. Thanks for the Craigification.
Pleasure.
Something that you brought up to me earlier this morning was work-life balance.
Yes.
And I think it's a really good conversation point.
Well, one of the things that I talk about a lot, because I do a lot of corporate stuff, so I'm always talking to people in a work environment, men and women, and I coach a lot of people who, like obviously most of the people that I coach have their own business or have a job or a career or work in some capacity. And there's always this conversation, not necessarily in my space, but sometimes, but generally this conversation around how much do we work? How many hours do we invest every day? How often do we need a holiday? Is there a relationship between work and life and balance and socializing and full on and laid back and hitting the pause button? And how much work is too much before it affects our health? And is there a ratio? Is there a number? How many hours? And it's really, there's another, I don't know if other people use, but I use this term work-life impact or work impact. Okay. And so what I care about is, so for example, yesterday I opened a conference. So we're filming this on Monday. Yesterday I opened a conference, got up very early, went in, met some people, spoke at a conference, hung around, listened to some other speakers, spent some time there, learned some things, came home in between. So this is in Melbourne, did some stuff, did some work, headed off to another conference, closed that conference, again hung around, signed some books, met some people, did some fun stuff. Saturday night I was at a dinner. I spoke at the dinner. Saturday through the day I did lots of coaching. This morning, Monday, I've done some coaching. Now we're doing some filming. Then we're going to go and eat our own body weight in cheesecake, aren't we, Tom? And so I do, but I have days where I do mountains of stuff and days where I do not much. But here's the thing, hand on heart, I love all the stuff I do. Like, there's not one thing that I do as part of my job that I hate. Yeah. That I go, God.
When was the last time you took a holiday?
Well, because I travel, right? So I'll go away somewhere.
But you're working.
Yeah, the 80s.
Okay, so
not really. I've got a place on the peninsula, so I go down there and hang out. But for me, and see, this is the other thing. This is good conversation. Yeah. So, you need a holiday. Why? Oh, well, because you need to go lie on a beach and do nothing. Fuck off.
So I know in my life I've followed the careers that have felt like the least amount of work, or they haven't felt like work. So when I was a PT, it didn't feel like a great deal of work. When I worked for a radio station, having to be up there every bloody day,
doing
I couldn't fucking
doing breakfast in the country.
No, that was okay there.
What was the station?
Star FM.
Give us a little bit of welcome back. Let's hear a bit. Come on.
It's just like this. I didn't change my voice.
Yeah, come on, let's hear it.
No.
Let's hear it, tell me.
How about I just put a bit in from when I actually used to do it.
And
the script, Superheroes on Star FM.
There you go. But last year I was working somewhere and couldn't fucking wait to go on holidays.
Yeah.
it's because I didn't really like the job.
That's right.
So then what about all those people that don't like their job?
That's right. That's a great question. So you've got a couple of options, haven't you? Either find a way to try to find a way to like your job, to change your relationship with the job, to maybe change your role or position within that organisation, if that's possible. Probably not, maybe not, or do something different, or have really good holidays. The problem or the challenge is that we spend so much of our lives working that it. And I know this is not always possible or easy, so don't beat me up for this. But as much as we can, we want to be doing something that at least we like a bit, if not turning our passion into our career. And so, when you do the thing that you love, you ain't working. And I know that's cliche, but if I'm doing 12 hours a day of something I love, that's awesome. That's awesome. But if I'm doing 2 hours a day, 5 days a week, so even 10 hours a week of something I detest, like I've had, shouldn't say this, but over the years I had a couple of clients, when doing the PT, where, I won't say who, they were okay people, but just very hard work. And you'd go, I'm seeing this guy twice a week and they are the 2 longest hours of my life because it's just, it's toxic.
How many people have you inspired to quit their job?
I have a...
Because we might have a few quitters right now, and it's okay to quit your job if you're not happy.
I have a funny story that might take 2 minutes or 1 minute. I'll be quick. So
all right.
Well, I had a lady who came to... This is quite a terrible story, but you know those things that ladies have in the ladies' toilets for the
boxes.
Yes. We won't expand on it, but we know what we're talking about. That's cool.
Ladies' disposal, we'll call
Correct.
it.
Well, she came in, this was years ago, and said, she started to tell me off that we didn't have the right thing or this, and you really need, she was from an external company and trying to sell me on something, but she was quite condescending, telling me, that I should do this and not that, and you need to pay attention. And I'm thinking, if you're trying to sell me something, you're horrible at this. And anyway, I said, yeah, well, give me your card and I'll, thanks. If I'm interested, I'll call you. Then, she turned up 2 days later and I said to her, what's your name? I asked her name. I said, do you like your job? And she went, what do you mean? I go, do you like your job? And I wasn't being a smart ass. I said, honestly, you are rude. You are rude. You are pushy. I go, maybe you hate what you're doing, but you need to find what you love. You need to figure out, something that's going to resonate for you, because doing this, I get a sense that you don't really like it. It's a job, you kind of hate it, and it's it's not that it's a bad job, it's just that it doesn't seem to work for you. And we had a chat, and she was kind of half thankful, and she went. A week later, she comes back in, and one of my trainers goes, there's a lady to see you. Well, I didn't recognise her because she was dressed differently. She goes, I quit my job. She goes, I've got a job in retail, in fashion, and I love it. And I came to thank you. I came to thank you.
That's amazing.
When her father, and it was probably paying the same money, but she went out of doing something that she didn't love to doing something that she was at least more interested in and a bit passionate about.
Mm-hmm. I know that the job that I was talking about that I didn't like, it changed. I was a different person. Yeah. My fiance was just like, nah, what's going on here? So,
and it's not always possible to change that like that. No. People go, oh, it's good, all right for you. I've got 5 kids and I get that. Yeah. And you don't have to change next Wednesday, but maybe start the wheels turning on some kind of medium to long-term strategy. It's time, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. You know it.
So you brought the squatty potty last week?
Yes, I did.
Do you want to ask me any specific questions?
Well, I think people just want to know what your experience with it. Yes. How was it? Yes. Let's start from the start. So I left last Monday, and the squatty potty, when did it first get used?
Well, it got used that day.
Okay, so we're 7 days from the first squatty potty.
Yeah, so Monday, did we record? Monday. Yeah. So I gave it a bit of a trial on Monday. I didn't diarise the time, but Monday, and I've used it for every adventure since.
Okay, yep.
And it works a treat. It works. It's amazing, because here's the thing, right? I'm not even being funny. These people, what's it called? Squatty potty?
Squatty potty.
People, you definitely need me on board as an ambassador because it's such a good thing. Okay, so here's the difference.
Yeah.
You sit there, you put, I do know why, because it changes the biomechanics and the angle of your, stretches out your colon. And so you got to get, it's quite high, 7 inches. So my flexibility is not super awesome.
Yeah.
So you literally put it on the ground. You sit on the potty, on the toilet, you put your feet on the squatty potty. So somebody said to me, one of my clients said, do you sit on it? I'm like, no, you don't sit on it. No, you don't shit in the actual thing. You just go to the toilet normal ways. You just elevate your feet.
Yeah.
Sit up pretty straight, and instead of taking maybe that long, it takes that long.
Really?
And
So
boom.
it speeds up the process.
Boom. You sit down, elevate your legs, boom, action, and we're off. And can I say, the volume, a little bit increased.
Really?
How's your dinner? And no wipage.
What? Do you know what that's called?
Clean breaks.
Ghosty.
Clean breaks. Boom. Just terrific. All round.
And so how do you think when you put your feet up, what does that feel like?
Or it just changes your hips. Oh, it feels, for me, it's kind of, it's quite an unnatural position because literally your knees you're sitting like that.
Yeah.
It's quite, like they're quite elevated. And so you kind of want to sit like that, but you sit up, boom, action, and we're rolling. Yeah, good, really good. Have no affiliation with them, no kickback, nothing, but...
We're hoping for it.
Well, I don't really know what they could do for us other than send us a couple of squatty potties. Yeah, send us a couple. If you've got a suggestion for something else that we could test drive, as long as it's not ridiculous, even if you've got something, but before you send us your something, if you've got a product or a program or whatever of your own, be prepared that I will be 100% honest.
Yes.
So if you send me something that's yours and I think it's shit, I'll say it's, if I think it's awesome, I'll say it's awesome. So be careful what you send because I will not be endorsing anything I don't think's any good.
Yeah, please.
But it was great.
I'm running out of things.
Great. My pooing's gone to a whole new level.
Squatty potty, big success.
Yeah. So
After that.
rock and roll. Yeah, all good.
All right, that's it. All right. It's a good episode. That's half an hour, almost half an hour, gone pretty quickly.
And wedding bells for you very soon. I'm very excited.
Yeah, 2 weeks.
Yeah, 2 weeks. Can't wait. Have a good week, guys. Don't forget. Now, I was going to say, the jacket, with a little bit of PR, why not? The jacket is, it's got its own video production company, and obviously he puts all this stuff together. He's very good, very talented. If you have a big organisation that needs a videographer and you've got fuckloads of money, just contact Tommy. His details will be on the screen. And also in August, while we're selling shit, I've got a camp coming up, a 2-day weekend with me. Change your life. Hang out with me. Sleep in a bunk bed with me. Well, not with me, but not far. Fuck off. Get your own bed.
VIP packages? Or?
Yeah, no.
No, okay.
No, there'll be maybe a bit of spooning on the couch. Nah, probably not. Yeah, 2-day program. Yeah. Also, the details will be up for that. But if you'd like to come along, you be a good boy. And
yes, I will.
See you next week.
See you next week.